Our podcast is a part of the World Podcast Network, now with over 1,000 podcasts. Visit the World Podcast Network at worldpodcast.network to listen to podcasts in over 12 genres. Come vote our podcast episodes up and help us rise on the leaderboard. If you have a podcast of your own, you can join for free. Welcome to Reality Tea Times 2, the podcast where we discuss all the trash reality TV we love to hate. I am Danica, and today we are going to be going through another B90 roundup. We're going to be doing a lot of B90 roundups. This is one of them. I think we're going to be covering episodes 14 to 16. And I think we'll probably only have one more after this. So yes, this is everything that's happened. I think throughout the break. I think most of that, maybe 14 might have been before. And then the rest will be kind of what's happened throughout the break. And then we'll be pretty much caught up with the tell-all, which looks fantastic. So we do have some hot goss. A lot of this is going to be old stuff, but this is stuff that's happened throughout, and you'll be getting that periodically throughout the episodes to come. So let's get into it. So as we know, with the first piece of podcast we're going to be talking about is Angela and Michael and their annulment situation. So Michael actually submitted a counterclaim that asked for a divorce instead of the annulment and spousal support, and also accused her of domestic violence. To the delight of both Angela and Michael, the divorce is now moving quickly as Michael submitted the documents and information that Angela requested. So this comes months after Angela slammed Michael in court. As part of their legal case, Angela had served in interrogatories. I'm fine. It's early in the morning. Basically, probably like questions, like written discovery questions. So yeah, this is a list of questions or demands that she wanted Michael to provide information on or submit documents for. Now that Michael has completed that request, the divorce should move quickly and smoothly. Although this is a legal case, the tension is mainly outside of the courtroom, as we know. Since reports of Angela filing the annulment, Angela has taken to social media to threaten Michael, causing more backlash from fans, which, because she's gross. For instance, she posted a video warning Michael that, quote, "You haven't met your match, you met someone that is overqualified." For what? Screaming? Fighting people? Flashing people? Because to me, that doesn't feel overqualified. That feels like trash. But anyways, let's keep going. In an earlier video, she posted a video with audio stating, quote, "Do not underestimate me," and also said, "Never," with spelled Nevet, "try to destroy someone's life with a lie." In a recent interview, Angela also threw more shade and threats at her now estranged husband. She warns, quote, "Enjoy America while you can," a comment that comes months after an annulment lawyer stated that Michael's visa status could be impacted if the annulment is granted, which we do know from seeing that kind of play out with Danielle and Muhammad. She then also follows up with, quote, "Remember who brought the ratings." Okay, you brought ratings by demeaning an African man. Oh yeah, round of applause to you, fucking bitch. Moving on. It wasn't you. That's all I can tell you. It stated that she does not know his whereabouts, but she knows, quote, where he's going, which that is clearly her saying he's going back to Nigeria. Michael still has not responded to that interview, but that's basically that. Moving on to the next piece of hot goss. Now, again, this is a little sad and trigger warning for Cancer. So let's go into that. Former Golden Bachelor Gary Turner revealed that he was diagnosed with cancer weeks before his split from Teresa. While opening up about his divorce from Teresa was shocked Bachelor Nation because it only happened 2 months after. Gary revealed his health struggle was why he hadn't wanted to talk about the details of their separation until now, saying, quote, "I think it's time also because it probably will clear up a lot of mystery around what happened back in February, March, and April." And Gary said this to People in an interview published on December 11th. Quote, "As Teresa and I were trying very hard to find our lifestyle and where we were going to live and how we were going to make our life work, I was unfortunately diagnosed with cancer." Gary explained that he had a shoulder injury 3 years ago and did not go to the orthopedic surgeon at the time. When he ultimately went to the doctor, the orthopedic surgeon noted that Gary had, quote, "unusual blood markers." Quote, "And so an orthopedic surgeon went to my family doctor. My family doctor referred me to an oncologist, and now I'm working with a hematology oncology group in Fort Wayne. He was diagnosed with a slow-growing, quote, bone marrow cancer with a, quote, really long name, and I don't even know if I really want to try and figure this out, uh, but we'll try. Waldenstrom's macroglobulinemia, I think. Quote, "Unfortunately, there is no cure for it. So that weighs heavily in every decision I make. It was like 10 tons of concrete were just dropped on me, and I was a bit in denial for a while. I didn't want to admit it." While he initially received information from his oncologist that he had a, quote, blood disorder, Gary said he pretty much knew it was cancer. After disclosing his health update to Teresa in February, Gary received more testing and a bone marrow biopsy. Gary recalled deciding to, quote, "tell her what I knew," and I explained the situation to her back in March. While reflecting on telling Teresa the diagnosis, he said, "Certainly it was hard for me. But the conversation was brief, and I think she was a little bit awestruck by the news, so understandable." Saying, quote, "I wanted my life to continue on as normal as possible, and that led me to believing that as normal as possible more meant spending time with my family, my 2 daughters, my 2 son-in-laws, my granddaughters, and the importance of finding the way with Teresa was still there, but it became less of a priority." Gary called the judgments made about his divorce from Teresa unfair to the couple who tied the knot back in January. I mean, under the circumstances of what we did not know, I think he has to understand that. But of course, we did not need to know until he was ready to say if that ever happened. Because a lot of celebrities sometimes don't say anything. So yeah. Um, he went on to say, "When you are hit with that kind of news and the shock wears off after a few days or a few weeks, and you regroup and you realize what's important to you, that's where you start to move forward. And I hope that people understand in retrospect now that that had a huge bearing on my decisions, and I think probably Teresa's as well." While anticipating the fan reaction to his health update, Gary hoped that, quote, "they'll look at things a little bit differently, that maybe it wasn't quite a rash, fast decision that people thought, that there was something else going on." As he moves forward, Gary said he doesn't plan on saying no to anything and has taken Tim McGraw's "Live Like You Were Dying" to heart. He says, "I'm going to pack as much fun as I possibly can into my life and enjoy every moment. And when I'm gone, but I'm not going to have regrets." And Gary also had nothing but well wishes for Teresa, noting that he hopes all of the good luck in the world for her and that she finds everything that she wants. So, He said that that glamour and starstruck whirlwind time was really a cherished memory. It was wonderful, and I certainly wish it would have had a different ending, that we would have found our way, that we would have found solutions to a problem, and most of all, that I would have had a diagnosis that so strongly influenced my decisions and the direction I went. Teresa, for her part, reacted to the diagnosis on, I think, not long after this came out, and shut down rumors that his health battle led to their divorce. Teresa told people that his cancer wasn't a factor in the ending of the relationship, at least not for her. She explained if that was something on his part, maybe, I don't know. But no, that didn't factor into ending the relationship. Part of it was the distance, but that wasn't the only part. That's really all I will say. While Teresa and Gary have not remained in contact since their separation, she sent a message to her former husband in the interview saying, quote, "I wish him the best, and that I know that he was in a very difficult situation and that good things will come to him. And I wish for him a long and healthy, prosperous life, and I hope that he finds his person. I want him to be so happy, and I just wish him all of the best, and that I know that he was in a very difficult, sorry, I went backwards again. Sorry, guys. Um, yeah, that she was all the best of everything in the world." So it's basically that. I know that was a tougher one. Um, but, um, but we're gonna actually just keep going. We have a little more. We're gonna get fun, I promise, but let's keep going. She mentioned, I think in a maybe that but same interview, that um when he told her, it was when she had visited him in Indiana sometime in March, um and said that uh, she said that she was extremely upset. Despite his diagnosis, she says that he told me, though, that it was a type of cancer that he would most likely outlive. He's a very positive person, and I am too, and I know that he will do the best that he can to make this a positive experience. And I have every faith that it is going to work out that way. It's going to be the type of cancer that will not affect his life, and that he'll live to be a very healthy old age. So just so we kind of will also know that type of cancer that he has, based on the Mayo Clinic, the disease changes white blood cells into cancer cells and builds up in the bone marrow, the spongy material obviously inside the bones, where blood cells are made. Yeah, I was kind of going through this article. I think we can leave some stuff out. But yeah, that's basically it. We're ending it there. We're going to do one more piece of hot goss and then we'll get into the episode. So, let's see if we remember who these people are. Married at First Sight's Brianna Miles and Vincent Morales are parents. Again, apparently, I didn't remember they had another one to begin with, to be totally honest with you. But the couple, as we know, who met during season 12 of Married at First Sight, have welcomed their second baby together, and a representative confirmed this to people. The baby's name is Kai Miles Morales, was born on Sunday, November 17th at 6:30 p.m. and joins I think big sister? Yeah, son? I don't know. Big sister Bella, who's 23 months. He said that we're beyond blessed and so excited to finally have Kai here. He's such a joy to have in our home. We couldn't have asked for a better home birth with the best teams by our side. Saying, quote, "Our midwife Angelina Ruffin and doula Jatim McKinney," I think that's how you say her name, made sure Brianna was well taken care of throughout her VBAC experience and after. Do you have a picture? I'll post. Bella has has been such an awesome big sister already. She loves helping us change diapers and gives baby brother the best hugs and kisses. Our hearts are full and we can't wait to see our babies grow together. And yeah, that's basically it for hot goss. Let's get into the reason we're here, which is B90 Roundup. and we're going to be covering episodes 14, 15, and 16. So we're going to do, I think this time around, we'll do episode by episode versus doing couple by couple. We'll do episode by episode. I think that's what I'm going to do. I don't even know what I'm doing, guys. Follow with me. That's what we're going to do. Maybe we'll do couple by couple and then go from there. Okay, so first couple, we have Faith and Loren. So episode 14. Loren is clean now from his gonorrhea. So they go to a drag show and he's meeting her friends. And what I'll say just off the bat here, the queens here, they're fierce, they're bringing it, and it looks like a lot of fun. Then Faith, she just gets up there and she's pole dancing and she's actually really good. And then she kisses him. Honestly, I don't get it. Um, honestly, I feel like I couldn't even go there with him, even if he is clean. I don't think I could, just for different reasons, or the same whatever, all the reasons. I just couldn't go there. And then we kind of talk with the friends about the whole cheating and stuff. Um, and he's like, "Oh, well, I thought she knew," which is again a trope that he's been telling people, or telling her anyways, telling her that, "I thought you knew." Because I've been saying at people's houses, like, it's so gross. And he's like, he can't see it as cheating because they were just online. So it wasn't real for him, basically, is what he's saying. You weren't real enough for me because you're online. So that way, that's me saying it's fine. I can cheat, you know? Like, it's just, he sucks. So moving on. So her friend asks him, "So how many women were there?" And he says, "Okay, let me see. Hold on. I gotta think about it. Because there's just so many." He's like, "5. No, wait, 7." First of all, I don't believe it's only 7. I'm sure it's a lot more than that. I think that's just the easy thing for him to say. Um, but again, this is like him kind of being like, "I'm the bad guy." Like, he's fucking Billie Eilish or something. He wishes he was that cool. But anyways, he is just like, "I'm the bad guy." Like, woe is me kind of thing. And he's like, do you think I hurt you on purpose? Do I even think he hurt her on purpose? No, I don't think that was necessarily his intention to hurt her, like purposefully, but you knew that it was going to be an issue for her, which is why you didn't tell her anything. You just assumed that she would assume that's what you're doing, but you weren't being honest with her. So, at the very least, you knew you going and having sex with other people was going to be an issue for her. So, at the very least, you knew that your actions would hurt her, whether or not you like really put in your head, "I'm gonna go her faith today." You know what I mean? Like, I have to think that literally with him. But anyway, he says, like, "I wouldn't waste my second chance with you." And her friends just do not like him, which same girl, same, or trust him, same girl, same. But 10 minutes later, as they're leaving, her friend kind of pulls her aside and says, "I saw him flirting with the drag queen." And, they're like waiting for a car, and Faith was not near him to see this happening. And so in the car now, Faith basically says to him, "My friend saw you flirting. And he's like, with who? And or maybe I think it was him here at that time, or maybe, or she said maybe a drag queen. And he's like, I'm just going to give them attention like you're supposed to. Like, I'm not like trying to flirt with them or whatever the hell. Now, I don't know. I'm not a part of the LGBTQ community as he clearly is. So maybe I'm incorrect. But is that like a prerequisite? Do I have to flirt with the drag queen? I'm just, I don't know if that's like you have to do that. You can give them attention, obviously, because you want their attention. I want their attention. Like, look at me. Look at me. But flirting doesn't feel like the prerequisite. Like, you must do this. Otherwise, you're what, gonna get dragged by a queen? Which sounds fantastic. But I'm just saying, where, like, am I incorrect? Maybe I am, but I'm confused by that logic. Um, but anyways, Faith is just kind of like, I'm done with this conversation. Don't talk to me. And yeah. So that's basically that for episode 14. Episode 15, they're kind of talking about it, and he says, he doesn't think he was flirting with anybody. And he's like, outside, after he's thought about it, he's like, I was talking to these kids, not the queens. And some guy basically comes up to him and says, oh, my friend thinks you're cute. First of all, okay. I think it's more that he's an American and not so much that he's cute, because I don't fucking get it. I don't know. No. Okay. How do you look at Loren and think you're really cute? You know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry. I don't want to be mean. But I don't fucking understand. I need someone to spell this out for me. Um, I really do. I really do. But anyways, that aside, friend says he's cute. He apparently says that he like touched this person on her face in like a kind of like passionate way, and says, you're sweet, but you're too young for me, and I'm here with my beautiful girlfriend. And he said that he did that because he didn't want to like just full blown reject this person. But you could have been nice to this person without touching them. So, yeah. And we see the video footage. This happened, but I don't remember if we heard the audio very well, which that part I need, because did he really fully reject this person? I don't know. So for Faith, she said, everything is just so mind bubbling. And I'm like, that I like. I think I'm going to use mind bubbling from now on. And she does forgive him yet again for another thing. And it's like, you want to scream to her, have a little more respect for yourself. Um, and I understand that I don't fully understand, but I understand that it's tough for people in the trans community, maybe, I think really anywhere, but I think maybe even especially in the Philippines, to be accepted for who they are and to find love, meaningful love. Um, but you can't like lower your standards um in this way for this person who doesn't give a fuck about her. He just doesn't. Anyway, that's, I think, it for them. So let's move on to, because I don't think we have them in episode 16, so let's move on to Matilda and Niles, episode 14. So Niles says, you know what? Let's get married. And they're gonna get married on this trip. But they do have a lot to do in just a few days because he's gonna be leaving soon, so we're gonna be getting that done. Then we kind of see the negotiating, the bride price. And Mr. Ark is here to do that negotiating on Niles' behalf. And at the end of the day, it's going to cost $400 US dollars. So Niles is definitely kind of, you can kind of tell something's up, and he's worried because he's like, yeah, $400. I mean, it's a lot, but it's not a lot. Like, it could have been worse. But he's clearly kind of like, I can't even do that. So they go, or him and Matilda go to an ATM, and you kind of hear the audio of him coming, yep, that's all I have, and kind of withdraws that. And then he comes back to Matilda, and he's like, yeah, so I only have $109 in the bank. And he tells her at this point that just before he came, he lost his job. And he says, that's why I have no money. He says, with like the dinners and the whatnot and the shopping, he's kind of blown through all the money he had. He said he lost it the day before he was supposed to leave, which is, that's like fucked. You're kind of like, oh yeah, you have a trip, so we're just gonna let you go now. You don't need to come back when you come back. Like, it's absolutely fucked. And he was kind of told it just wasn't working out. He's like, whatever that means. Like, I don't know how long he was working here, but it's like, you can't say, what, a year and a half or 2 years in, it's just not working out. What are you talking about? Like, what? Anyway, so now he's going to try to talk to Mr. Ark to see if he can lend him money for the wedding. All right. So then, in episode 15 for them, we see him calling his parents to say, listen, I'm getting married. And it does not go good, y'all. It doesn't go good. They're talking down to him, it feels like. I mean, we're not hearing their side of the conversation, but it does feel like they're kind of maybe talking down to him based on what he's saying. They say like, um, what's going to happen when they like, or they're saying to him like, what's going to happen with her if she changes like in 6 months. And he's like, don't we all kind of change after a few, after some time? He's like, who I was when I came here is not who I am now. Like, I've grown now in the space of the time I've been here. He's like, so of course she's going to change in 6 months. She should change in 6 months. We should all be changing, you know? And Matilda is correct, though. She's like, I'm not going to have any support in America, and that does concern her. It would concern me if the thing is like, again, as a person, like I've been open with this, as a person who has an autistic um, sibling, I understand wanting to protect them and make sure they're making right decisions. But we also have to think about the fact of, you want to treat them as you would treat anyone else. You can't handle them with kid gloves because of their neurodivergent. Like, that's not fair. And you have to allow him to grow at some point. And he seems to have a head on his shoulders. He seems to have his wits about him. He seems very smart. He is very smart. So it's just like, at the very least, if you don't trust Matilda, that's fine. You don't know her. But trust your son. And that's what it feels like. They don't trust him. And it's that part for me that I have issue with. And he's right. Can't you just say, even if it's a lie, I'm happy for you? Or, I wish you all the best or something like something. He deserves that. Anyway, um, so I think that's it for them in this episode. I guess we'll see Mr. Ark later. Let's move on to Tigerlily and Adnan. So they're like, what if we made a baby already? Anyway, they're going to be going to the pool. Um, and they're kind of, I guess, going through the different things that she can wear. And the first thing she kind of puts on looks like one of those like diving suits. And he's like, okay, well, I'm gonna, put my stuff on. And he's wearing shorts. And she's like, no, no, your legs are showing. She's like, do you see mine? And he's like, no, well, anyway, EG ends up wearing like this dress. Um, it looks like a dress anyways. And then they go out to the pool and there's others there in their bikinis and whatnot. And she's just kind of, she's feeling, she's feeling uncomfortable, in the pool because the dress keeps riding up and she's like, it feels like a straitjacket for her. She just says, I didn't know things were changing in the way that they did, even though she's like, yeah, she acknowledges, yes, you told me things were going to change, but she just didn't really maybe understand what that meant. And she's like, I just saw like you would be like romantic and stuff. That's what I thought you meant by those things, by changing. Like, I didn't know that's what like you meant, like what I have to wear in the pool. I feel like again, a simple Google search would have like summed that up. Now, I say like it could have been a simple Google search or at least like a Google search in certain things that maybe could have started conversations instead of analyzing his handwriting. Um, and we forget about that. I forgot about that, but it just came to me. But it could have sparked conversation so you could have figured out where he lies. But it also is also on him to kind of be like, yeah, things are going to change, and here's how they're going to change. So it's on both of them really. But then Tigerlily, she starts crying, and in the moment, she just looks absolutely miserable. Or like the interview they did like after the pool, she just looks miserable. She looks absolutely miserable. Poor thing. Anyway, that's basically it with them. We'll see them again in another episode. So, Magda and Joe, episode 14. So we go to the salt mine. It's kind of cool. It's really cool. And there are these like salt statues and this salt chapel. Um, and people apparently will get married in this chapel. But Magda doesn't want to get married in the chapel. And anyway, the little tour guide person that they have kind of taking them around here, she leaves them in like this big, like open area that they can go explore. And he's like, okay, we'll miss you. What? Um, anyway, so they talk and he says that he feels bad about the cheating and she basically, I guess she kind of wants to know when it happened. Which I don't know if that's gonna matter really. If you know anyways, you're probably gonna just forgive him and stay. But she wants to know. I get it. We all wanna know. Um, but he says, I don't remember. What? What? And she says, how do you not remember if it was only the one time and the one person? And he's like, I just don't remember. What? No, he remembers. He knows. And I think he knows if I tell her, oh, this probably happened in the very beginning, she's going to lose it. He knows. Anyways, after the salt caves, Magda is not feeling well. She seems to have like a really bad headache. And he kind of comes, they're going to go like, basically, like, she's going to go to bed and he's going to be with her. And he comes in this kimono. He's like, it's from Japan. No shit. I don't know where else kimonos are, but I'm pretty sure they're known to be, at least they started in Japan. What? It's from Japan. What? No, it's from, I don't know, Croatia. That's the only other place I can think of, top of my head. Anyway, Hades is here, and I know she says it a little differently, but she says he's named after the god of the underworld. So I say Hades. He's here, and she says, it is her dream to live in the States, and or her friends say it's her dream to live in the States, and because her friends had the dog, and her friends say that we are concerned because, she did move to Germany for a guy, and it didn't work well, and Joe's like, I'm sorry, what? He's like, I didn't know. He didn't know. And he's like, I don't think I knew that. Huh. And he's starting to wonder, like, is this like a pattern of hers to like move this quickly with people? So yeah, I don't know. Anyway, episode 15 for them. So Joe is a slob because they're moving from where they currently are to go to where she lives. Anyway, we're there now, and he's cooking for her, and she goes to get her cat candy because her friend was holding that cat. And she says that she was only talking to her ex for a few months before she up and moved to Germany. That's a problem. She's impulsive. And he says that I think we should, wait on the marriage part. And she's like, well, I'm planning to go to the States for a month after he leaves in order to meet his family. They both planned this. So now she's kind of starting to wonder, like, am I doing that in vain? But you can still do he's not breaking up with you. You can still do all of those things. And so this is the process of dating. Anyway, he says we should just take our time. And she kind of just goes in her feelings like, okay, don't bother and propose to me then. Like, what? Anyway, that's it for them. I did realize halfway through here that I probably have episode 16 separate. So maybe there's people in episode 16 we'll get to. Yes, we do have. So here we go. We're at episode 16 now for everyone. Because this basically is how I have my notes. So episode 16, Loren and Faith. So he is having her do a tattoo on him. He says, listen, my ex did this one, my coworker says this one, so you can do this one. Y'all, he's literally they're doing it as if they're in prison. Actually, I think the prison has better amenities than what they're doing right now. And he says, like, I like tattoos, but like they're too expensive. I can't afford them. Get a fucking job. Anyways, he says that he wants to get the Filipino flag with an F in it for Faith so he can remember this time. And he is doing this this way because, yes, he's broke. So she says that I'm a face painter, so I can do this. He's like, well, don't do it on my face. I'll not get no more jobs. I'm like, sir, you don't have them now. And basically, we're just going to skip ahead to the end result. What in the flying fuck was this thing? It didn't look like anything. It basically just looked like he had like a bruise or something. There's no rhyme or reason to whatever the hell this was. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. Did you get it? I didn't get it. It was horrible. Anyway, we then see him at the magic shop. he also do a magic trick to end up proposing to Faith. And I wrote after that, for fuck's sakes. Then we're at this beautiful park I wrote this with this idiot, in order for him to propose to her. And Faith, she looks great. Day night, he says. And the tattoo is not looking much better than it did before, but you can kind of see, I can't remember if you can start to see the colors coming in, but the F, I don't know where the F is. But anyway, you can see the F, I don't remember. Anyway, then he pulls the rainbow string. This is a trick that he's doing. And he says, at the end, there's a ring. And then he asks her, like, will you marry me? And she says, is this a trick? He's like, no, it's a real ring. No, it's not. It's fake as hell. Because he could only afford like I don't even know how much this ring costs. It's not even silver. It's costume jewelry. He's like, you just gotta say yes. And I said, no, she doesn't. She can say no. She can say no. Please, girls, say no. Well, she doesn't say no. She says yes. And I wrote fuck in capitals. Because I mean, I felt like a snake oil kind of sell, the greasy car salesman type feel to his proposal. Like, all I gotta do is yes. Like, no, fuck you, go away. And he's like, I was getting boyfriend kisses and now I'm gonna get fiance kisses. And I'm like, how old are we? This man is 30 something. I think he's older than me. He's 30 odd, I don't even know. And we're talking as if we are children. I mean, later on, Faith kind of like, oh, now we can do SCX. And I said, ma'am, if you can't say the word, then you shouldn't do it. Seriously. It's just, I don't understand. And we started talking about the size of his penis. And I said, please, God, no, make it stop. I don't want to hear about anything having to do with body parts on Loren. And Faith does bring up the elephant in the room, which I think is an important elephant in the room, and says, well, how do we do sex? Because we're both bottoms. And he says, well, in the bedroom, I usually ask which way people want to go. And most people say that they want me to bottom. So I'll just do like what they want, but I'll top you. It's fine. So you couldn't say you're fucking versatile. You, I think there's another word for, I think it's side, but I might be wrong. But we'll just say versatile for my own peace of mind here. Make sure I'm using the somewhat right terminology. You're versatile. You'll do both. You literally sat there and said you're a bottom. I think honestly hoping she would be a top. But you could have just said I do both. And Faith could have come out and said, I do this, I do that, or whatever. Like, what? Okay. He says, like, plus I don't want to use my penis if I don't like you. Because if I don't like you, it's not going to work for you. And I'm just like, never have I ever heard that unless you're Gino. Um, Usually I think men can make the penis work for whomever, whenever. And but yeah, he says, I'll top. And he says, hopefully my penis likes you. And I'm just like, wouldn't you figure this out by now? Because again, I feel like that's all just your brain and shit. And again, I think men can make their penis work for everyone if they so choose. At least in my experience. So it's just like, what the hell? Anyways, that's it for that. Oh, I forgot about Vanya. We do 14, 15 seconds. Okay, so Vanya, episode 14. So Vanya is sitting at like this cute little cafe, and some guy just comes up to her and he's like, you're alone. He says, I'm Noah. he's from Switzerland. And he's like, you should enjoy your time here because she kind of goes into the whole thing with Bozo. And he's like, we're on a date right now, right? And he's like, yeah, but to be honest with you, I am in a relationship. And I said, the producers couldn't have made sure of that. Like, I'm confused. He's like, but we just opened it up. So like, we could like hang out if you'd like. I can give you my number. And she's like, no, thank you. That's not really for me. Good for you, but not for me. Anyway, in episode 15, she does have a date. She did have a previous date with another guy that didn't go anywhere. But this date is with Yosko, and we're going to be going kayaking. My guy has a bubble butt. And he says that she's turning me on right now. Clearly, we'll get to it. And she says, "Oh, you got me wet." And I'm like, "Oh my God." And when he gets out of the water and everything, I'm just like, "Oh my, I saw more than I thought I would." He wasn't fully hard, but he was semi. My God. Whoa. Um, and then they hug because they're cold, y'all. And he's like, he's not worried about shrinkage anymore. I'm like, I'm sorry. If that was shrinkage, Jesus. And then they kiss. And he says, do you feel my excitement? And I said, I saw your excitement a few minutes ago, but anyways. So then Vanya has invited him back to her place and they do order some food. And he's like, I'm going to be a vegan tonight because she's obviously vegan. And he's going to adapt to her. And Vanya tells him about Bozo, kind of everything that kind of happened there. Which he's like, I don't get it. Which, yeah, anyway. So Yosko we find out, is fostering a kid, a son. He's been fostering him now for 5 months. And he's now actually in the process of adopting him. So this man is incredible. He's only 1. And he said, like, he wanted to be a dad and kind of that feeling came for him to become a father. And he tried to do surrogacy. But apparently in Croatia, it is illegal. So this is the next best thing for him to do. So I like Yosko. I do like him. What else we got here? Okay, Veah. We're moving on to Veah and Sunny. So episode 15, Veah says that Rory can go home now. And Sunny says, I do want to see him before he goes, try to clear the air, basically. So when they're meeting up with Rory, they literally put him on the title card. It was hilarious. So Rory is going to be flying out the next morning, and we're going to be going on a safari. Before that happens, and we see a baby zebra. It was so cute. He was like a baby, but he's grown so much in a short time. Then the zebra, the male zebra, because trust me, we all found out it was a male. The penis just out. It's just coming out and just waving around, and it's huge. And Sunny's like, he's lucky. And then Vea's like, trust me, he doesn't have anything to worry about. And I'm like, Jesus. And then we kind of see some wildebeest, and she's like, are those pigs? Ma'am, do they look like pigs? Like, if it was a warthog, which a warthog wouldn't even be here because that's bad. But if it was a warthog, I would give you that. I thought they were not buffaloes. I was thinking something else that's close to that. But this girl said pig. Um, and they're dying. They're like laughing at her. It was funny. Um, and she's like, I need to go pee. Can I and just go pee out in the open behind a bush? And I said, I'm gonna hold it because Lord knows. But while she's out there gonna go pee, Sunny apologizes to Rory for how he's acted and everything like that. And I think Rory does accept the apology, although he kind of seemed hesitant throughout that. I don't know, um but anyways, they stop off at like a waterfall, and this guy who's doing the safari with them is like, there's no hippos or crocodiles, so you're good to go. And I said, so is there a possibility for said hippos and crocodiles? Because if so, I'm out. Like, no thank you. Um, so they talk about meeting his family, and he says that, or she says that he's embarrassed by me because she hasn't met the family yet, worried about the tattoos. And he says, no, it's not really about that for him. He's like, she has to kind of change how she is. I have to cover my tattoos and stuff. And Rory says, well, but if it's cultural, then that's not a lot to ask for. Um, and she said, well, would you cover your tattoos if you had to? And I think he would, based on what he just said. Like, culturally speaking, yes, this is what you do. Just to keep the fucking peace. Like, And Sunny says, you're being selfish. And I agree. She is being selfish. Just cover your fucking tattoos, move on with life. But he says, you're a selfish. He says, no, you're a selfish. And I said, yeah, okay. And he says, okay, I guess she's going to meet his dad. More on that in a minute. So episode 16, Rory is going to be going home, or he is going home, and they're left shopping for clothes in order for her to cover her tattoos so she can meet his dad. But she says, like, she was kind of trying on like this white gown that she said was really triggering because it kind of reminded her of her upbringing. So it was triggering for her. But now they're going to be meeting with dad, and he says to Veah, um, in your pics, you look healthier. You look tired. And she's like, the fuck? Like, so he's talking about the fact that she looked chubbier, chunkier in her pictures than she does now. And now you look tired. Like, you don't know this person. Now, the part of you looked healthier, I kind of understand that. It's cultural. I understand that maybe you feel comfortable doing that. But you don't know this person from Adam. Like, I'm sorry. Like, do you have no couth? Like, some of any form of a filter? Because you're getting to know this person. Then the tattoos are brought up because, well, I guess we didn't cover them up too good. And he's like, we don't like tattoos. And this bitch, she could have just maybe not said this, but she says, oh, well, Sunny likes them. Oh my God. No, no, he don't. No, he don't. Ma'am, no, he don't. As far as his dad is concerned, no, he don't. And he says, I very much doubt that. He's like, I don't think so. And he said, well, in the future, you'll have to take them off. Like, you just take off your clothes, you could take off those tattoos. Do you understand the work, the money, and the pain one goes through to have a tattoo removed? You can't just have them removed. It's not just, you can't just wipe it off. You know what I mean? And she's like, well, they tell a story of my life, which I don't understand why she thinks that this is going to work for her, because they don't care that it tells a story of her life. You don't need to tell the story of your life through tattoos in their mind. You know what you did in life. So they don't care about that. I understand what she's saying, but they do not care that it tells a story. It doesn't give them more meaning. So she says because though they tell a story of her life, she does not want to have them removed. And he says, well, tattoos are totally wrong. And she's like, I don't feel comfortable with that. And he's like, well, you can do when you like, 2-3 months from now, it's fine. And um and then he kind of goes into, so did Sunny tell you that you would need to convert? And she says no, because he has not had a conversation with her. And he's like, well, you should do that. Just simple. You should just do that. Convert religions. You should just do that. And she asks, well, Sunny, do you want that? And Sunny kind of says, well, he says nothing really throughout the entire time. But then he kind of says, you wanted to meet my dad, right? Like he's getting attitude with her. And I didn't like that because it's like, keep the same fucking energy because you haven't told her any of this. You're basically having your daddy tell her everything that needs to be done. And then you're like, oh, by the way, it's horrible. And then she's like, can you get up? Because she needs to get the hell out of Dodge. Because, yeah, I understand her. Anyway, his dad, after that, is like, what happened to her? Well, you kind of laid everything on really thick. Can't you just, are we incapable of just getting to know her? Just knowing her? And the tattoo conversation and the converting religion conversation could have been day 2. You know what I mean? And he says I couldn't tolerate that, like her getting up and leaving because, again, how dare women have any form of their own mind? And I understand it's a culture, but he says that I don't like what she's doing. That's a bad thing. And she says that she knew it was going to be difficult. Or I think maybe Sunny said that, but anyways, he goes after her and he says like, you wanted to meet him, and he's like, I listened to you, basically again, putting everything on her. And he says, but you then, you walked away. And she's like, well, he was talking about my tattoos, and he says that he didn't say you had to remove them now, just in the future. Yeah, 2 or 3 months from now. And she's like, well, he was also mentioning like converting religions, which in her defense was never brought up to her before. And she says, well, instead of me freaking out in front of your dad, I got up and walked away because I was going to have an anxiety attack. And Sunny is just like, he's not understanding that it's not as easy for her to just make it go away. This is who she is. She has gone through so much shit in life. And he just doesn't fucking get it. And this was probably the one time I was 100% on her side. She can't control that. It's not something you can control. Anyway, this whole situation sucked. Moving on from them, let's go to Brian and Ingrid. I think we're finishing up with them actually in this episode so that we don't need to talk about them, him again. So episode 15, he tells her that I don't think you're trying. The fuck you say? I would clock him in his face. And he's like, you say you need space, but like, we're in separate places. Like, what more space do you need? So, do you understand the definition of space in that moment? Space isn't the physical space. She means the emotional space, you idiot. And he's like, and kissing you? It's like kissing my grandma. Just these pecs. He is fucking deplorable. He's deplorable. I hope I never see him again. And anyway, I saw all these other things, and he says, like, I feel like I'm being, like, played. Then we get into the whole thing about how, oh, you're just trying to get to the States. You're just trying to bring you and your kids to the States. And I think she's like, no. He's like, yeah, so then, like, why would you accept all these things, though? Like, if you're not into it. Because she's fucking trying to maintain a relationship with your stupid ass. That's why. And she says, like, you think I did that for a passport? And she's like, distrustful, fuck off, is what she says to him. And she walks away from him. And it's just like, he sucks, man. He fucking sucks. In episode 16, he's just so proud of himself for standing up to himself for himself. And I'm just like, you're disgusting. You're disgusting. You. Ingrid is going to be going home, and he asks to see her for what reason, I don't fucking know. And I wouldn't have agreed to it, but that's me. And she does agree to it. And they kind of talk about the breakup briefly, I think. And she says, you know, you accuse me of being self-interested. Like, she denies that. And he says that I have nothing but, and it says, I have nothing bad against you. I didn't know you would. Because you're not the problem. It's all her. You're not the problem. You're fine. You're peachy. Anyway, and she's like, well, that's it. Because this could have been in an email. Like, seriously. And she's like, where's the apology? Because he doesn't think he did anything wrong. He is incapable of thinking he did anything wrong. And he says, okay, so your car's coming. I'll go down with you. So, you know, you're not alone. She didn't ask. She didn't ask you. She could have done that on her own. What are you adding to her life at this moment? And then they go down and he says, man, Ingrid, come here. Come here. Can I hug you? He's like, I didn't want it like this. I don't hate you. You understand that, right? I don't hate you. Get the fuck off my screen. I don't know what we need to do. Roll him off somewhere. I don't know. But this freaking guy is literally being like, I don't hate you. Didn't know you potentially would hate her. Again, everything is her fault. Brian did nothing wrong. You suck. So, anyway, um, and then he just starts, crying, quote unquote, which I just, again, didn't buy his stupid waterworks. But, yeah, that's basically that. He's going home, and that's the end of, Brian, and Ingrid, unfortunately. And, well, unfortunately for Ingrid, um, but I just hope I never have to see Brian pass this rest, like the tell all. And that's that, because I hate him. But let's see where else we're at, because I don't know. I don't know until I flip the page. Okay, so I think we have episode 16 with Niles and Matilda. We're getting there, guys. Sorry, we're getting there. It's a long episode. It's fine. Episode 16 for Niles and Matilda. So today is the day. It's the wedding day. Um, Actually, I missed the part where he asked for the money. Did I talk about him asking for the money? I'll talk about it quickly here because I don't remember exactly where that notes are. Um, but yeah, so he does go and, or is it the wedding? Or the day before the wedding? Okay, yeah, no, this is the day before the wedding. Sorry. I am confused. Or day of. I don't even know. It might have been, no, it's the day of. It's the day of. It's the day of. So, anyways, yeah, he's at Mr. Ark's and he says, "Good morning, Dad." Um, and then he goes, I guess, starts to going for a chair. He's like, Mr. Ark's like, "Are you going for a chair? Did I tell you you can go for a chair?" He's like, "You only go when I tell you you can go." It's like, "Put your hands behind your back. I'm your father. Gotta give the respect. Now go get the chair." he's he's taking his role seriously. So they talk about the wedding, and he's like, "You prepared to get married? Say yes. You won't have the right to say anything else." And Niles like, "May I ask you a question? Do I stand?" He's like, "No, no." And he's like, "There's a lot to pay for. And I only have $109, I think they were 1,300 CDs." And he's like, "I'm going to need some financial help. Can you help me make up the rest of it?" And Mr. Ark is like, "Well, I'm concerned." He's like, "People in the US usually have a bunch of money, so why don't you?" First of all, we don't have a bunch of money. I wish we did. We don't. Um, but Niall says, "I lost my job before I came here." But he says things are in motion. He thinks that he will have a better job lined up for him. And he apparently recently had an interview that looks very promising. Um, and then they're kind of talking about like when you're coming back because like your wife is here. He's like, "Well, I'll come in like 2 to 5 months." And he's like, "No, don't pledge. You're gonna do something. Unless you actually think you can do it." He's like, "Okay, 4 to 5 months." And I think like he's like, "Are you sure?" He's like, "6?" um, he's like, "Well, I am compelled to assist you in getting married." He says that, Niall says that I will pay you back. So, yeah. All right. Let's see where we're at now with the episodes. Okay, we're with Tigerlily and Adnan again on episode 16. Not much. But it's Turkey Day in Turkey. And his family is here to enjoy Turkey Day in Turkey. Um, and she's like, "This is whipped cream in a box." And she's like, the garlic is so cute. It's so cute. It's garlic. Anyway, they have an assortment of turkey parts instead of getting a full ass turkey. And the producer is like, "Do you can't cook with those nails." And she's like, "These are multi-purpose tools." She's like, "I don't need scissors or like anything like that. Like I just use my nails." I can't. It's like, "Honey, I don't know like how to use this. Like I don't know Celsius. I know things in Fahrenheit." And I said, "The oven's in Celsius?" Because shit, I don't either. And we use Celsius in this country. Um, she's like, "How do I do it? I need 350." He doesn't know shit about shit because he doesn't cook. I don't think he's even set foot in a kitchen, to be totally honest with you. And she's like, "What does it mean when it's a cloud with rain?" Is that maybe the converter? I wonder if that's the converter, but what does it mean? Shit. And he's like, "You keep asking me things that I don't know the answer to." And I'm like, "Well, at least he's honest." Um, anyways, the meal's there. Is it bad at me that I'm shocked that she can cook? Because I'm shocked that she can cook. And everyone likes the food. Mom is like, "Please No pressure, but give me grandbabies and bring them to me forever. But yeah, that's basically it for them for episode 16. Um, Magda and Joe, episode 16, again, not much. He kind of says to her about like the whole like waiting for the marriage thing. He's like, it's just weird that we're having these conversations when, I mean, we haven't even had sex yet. That's not what you fucking say. And she's like, oh, is that what it takes? I have to have sex with you for you to propose? He's like, no, I'm not saying that. But they make up, whatever. And then they are um going to do a picnic and we put cotton candy and champagne. The strawberries, I understood. Do we put cotton candy and champagne? Is that something we do? Because that feels, I've never seen that before. That's interesting. So we kind of get into a little bit of a conversation about her not having a relationship with her father. Her parents divorced when she was 12. She doesn't really go into the details as to what happened, but because of that, they don't have a relationship. She doesn't talk to him. And she actually went through the process of having him not be legally her father. She only did that a few months ago. So she does not have a father, legally speaking. And she doesn't really go and get into the details. She explains also that like whatever happened with them was why she didn't have a lot of relationships. She didn't want anything to do with men for probably a long time. I suspect there was probably infidelity, but she doesn't really get into it. So which is fine. She doesn't have to. But that's basically it for them. And I think that is a wrap on the episode. So that is it. Um, and yeah, the next episode will be covering episode 17, 18, and 19, which is the final 3 episodes for the tell-all. So you'll be getting that next. And yeah, that is it for this episode. So if you like what you heard, please rate, review the podcast on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Also, don't forget that you can also share us with everyone in your life if you really love this. And I do want to read those reviews. I'm definitely getting 5-star ratings, but I want to read those reviews. So send me those reviews and I will read those 4 and 5-star reviews on the podcast. Also, we're on every one of your favorite podcast apps. Every one of them, including you can find us on YouTube at Reality Tea times 2. If you want to connect with us, you can do so by going to either Facebook or Instagram at Reality Tea times 2. You can also find us on Twitter, TikTok, Reddit at Reality Tea times 2 pod. We also have our email, which is at realityteatimes2 at hotmail.com. Definitely want to hear from you guys. And we also have our new website where you can listen to all of these episodes. You can review the podcast on there as well. You can connect with me in any way, all the stuff. It's all there. And you can find me there at www.realityteatimes2, all spelled out, .podpage.io. It's there. And don't forget, I also have my other podcast with my friend Mikkel, Next Take Podcast, where we talk about all kinds of different topics. But you can find us on any of your favorite podcast apps over there as well. Or you can also go to YouTube and you go to Next Take Podcast, as well as our website, which is solo.to/Next Take Podcast. So yeah, there's that, and that's basically that. And again, don't forget, if all of this information is overwhelming, we do have all of the links, everything in our show notes. But that is it for now, guys. Thanks. Bye.